Greetings, Skyfarers. Oh, wow. And welcome to another episode. Hello there. Of Sunless Skies. I'm Cobalt Thorium. And in this episode, we are doing a little bit of exploration down here. What the hell is that? We're doing a little bit of exploration and nothing. This is not foreground? What is going on here? Oh, I guess it is. That was very strange. What is this place? Oh, I should send out another owl. Let's go down here and then send out another owl. And then just a graveyard. We'll take a peek at it. Here stands a chimneyed factory dating to Albion's foundation and long since abandoned to the rats and the mold. You don't have a lot of inventory space, probably not worth doing that. I mean, really, the thing that concerns me is the terror mostly. No, I don't think we've read this before. Quiet Corner. The factory's city from an old fire that once swept through it. It still smells damply of smoke. Some of the floors are flooded with stagnant puddles. Others piled with boxes of unidentified rusting components. You find a dry, brick-pallid chamber and settle in. Stoker breaks out her harmonica. Alright. Guess that's that. Oop. It's a baddie. Get away. Ow. Have fun with that. Running into walls. Ask for it. No, we don't need krill. We'll loot the hold. Fuel. Yay. Okay. No new messages, it looks like. How do we want to get back? I suppose we'll just go through here. There's nothing down here. Cantankerite. Yeah, we'll listen to the last complaint. Experience and Sky Stories. Maybe I should have read that. I didn't actually look at it to see if it was new. Right. Another thoroughly searched area, I suppose. Alright, doing the same thing because, where we're going, we can get repairs for ship, you know. But we can't necessarily get rid of terror. Although terror will get knocked down a little bit when we pull in, but it'd be great to be leaving there with 0 terror. Does anyone else hear voices? Am I supposed to be like going crazy slowly or something? Alright, home sweet home. And our terror 0. Sweet. Alright, looks like the princess is opening a salon in London. The jewel is a city crown. A bright star shining among the smog. Her ambitions are limitless. Her expression when she shrugged, worrying. Alright. So, we got a couple different things we can do here. We can find the listless aristocrat's brother. The aristocrat stuck at Even Horizon mentioned a brother responsible for his predicament. Let's do that. Doppelganger. It's not the date it was. It takes some time to track down someone resembling the aristocrat. The city slums are empty of any fallen nobility. The grand houses close their doors to you. It is as if London would prefer all detainees of the Avid Horizon remain there. You've all but given up when you receive a note to meet in the Crown Jewel. A distinguished gentleman sits by the fire. His porcelain features a flawless mirror of his brother's. He intimates a litany of unsavory habits and hobbies possessed by his younger sibling. Calumny in the nursery, scandal in the boarding school, horror at the Young Stags Club. He would very much prefer it if his brother were to stay where he is. The Partner's Tale. You've gathered information on the aristocrat. It's not the date that it was. Okay. Alright, let's talk to the navigator. Go with the navigator to the ambassador's house. The navigator waits for you. It's been some time. Your vouching for me would make a good impression. I want to make her proud. Wait, who's her again? Okay. The house is small, but it is in an expensive location. It is well kept, the windows are clean, the steps freshly swept. Asphodel is flourishing in an urn by the steps. It still feels like home. The navigator gazes at the front door. It feels strange to know I'm just visiting. So we can ring the doorbell. The navigator stands beside you. He fidgets with a loose thread on his sleeve. Startled, but delighted. The grieving matriarch herself opens the door. She sees the navigator and yelps. She laughs, and then disintegrates into tears. The navigator enfolds the woman in a hug. The matriarch glares up at the navigator fondly. I've been so worried. The moment I knew you'd signed up, it's so dangerous out there. What if something happened to you? What if something happened to you too? Okay, that's interesting. She hustles the pair into the drawing room. My husband's at work. He'll be disappointed to have missed you. The navigator's promise. The navigator has been welcomed home by his friend's mother. Friend's mother? The grieving matriarch is determined you'll join her for tea. She even refuses to let the servants assist. She's rushing towards the kitchen when the navigator intervenes. We can't stay long. I mustn't impose on the captain. I promise I'll come back soon. He draws the matriarch close and lowers his voice. I came to ask, may I borrow the key? I haven't been able to pay my respects. The grieving matriarch looks mortified. So we can stand there and listen. For the old lady to react so strongly, this must be interesting. Or we could give them some privacy. It would be unkind to intrude on their privacy at such a time. You could peruse the photos in the hallway. Let's do that. Homely for an ambassador. The walls are covered in family photos. Frames jostle for space. In the oldest pictures, the navigator appears as a young, freckled girl. The navigator's a girl? What? Doesn't look like a girl. Wait. In the oldest pictures, the navigator appears as a young, freckled girl. Okay. Skirted and scowling. In the later ones, he is a tall, short-haired youth, his arm casually flung around his friend's shoulders. The matriarch bustles past. A couple minutes later, she returns carrying a large book. This time, she attempts a smile. Finally, the navigator comes out into the hall. I have what I need. He has the book under one arm and is holding up a large iron key. What does it open? The family tomb. An Eagle's Empyrean. They took Atlan back there. Speak to the Fortunate Navigator aboard your engine. The Navigator's promise. The Navigator has been given the key to Atlan's family tomb in Eagle's Empyrean. Speak to him aboard your engine to continue. Okay, we have one stewed gossip. That is a ton of experience. Alright, let's wander the streets once, see if we come up with anything new. A day in London. A Punch and Judy show is going on near St. Dominic's. Punch has been replaced with the old Sun, Judy with her renewed majesty. Plainclothes auditors looking from the crowd. Alright. Nothing new there. We'll repair. How much does that cost? 24? That's not bad, jeez. Although we only had a tiny bit of damage. We're not going to visit the bookkeeper because he's a traitor. We'll inspect the wares and just see if anything new happens. Doesn't look like it. Onwards. We'll take our facet, level up. Oh, okay, what's the new one? This one looks new. An exercise regimen. You've always kept yourself in peak condition via a regime of relentless physical improvement. Okay. Then we have pestilence. Since arriving in the heavens, through the avid horizon, you have contracted an unlikely illness. You're turning imperceptibly slowly into glass. That is not actually a new one. So this is the new one. Oh, there's a bunch here that are going to reduce nightmares. Okay. So, we are lacking in hearts and veils. I don't want any of these ones that'll reduce nightmares because we don't have any. I feel like that's something that we should probably leave for later. Though, you've unlocked this with Affiliation Academy. That's probably kind of interesting. The other thing we could do is we could really reinforce the skills that we have. Yeah, let's do the exercise regimen, then pump it into mirrors and really boost our top skills. An exercise regimen. You've always kept yourself in peak physical condition via a regime of relentless physical improvement. Determination is crucial. Once a day, every day, regardless of mood or circumstance, was the nature of your regime. A program of calisthenics. You have a helpfully illustrated manual of exercises to improve your flexibility, your carriage, and erect bearing. Or we could do evening constitutionals. A brisk walk clears the lungs and the mind. Fresh air is best, of course, but when away from port, you must content yourself with a sprightly turn around the locomotive. Okay. Would have liked if one of these were over 50, but let's get out of here. Pick up some supplies. Actually, we should sell some stuff too while we're here. Oh, right. Literature for Avid Horizon. Literature for Clockwork Sun. I think we have a lot of literature. No, not that much. Ooh, let's give that to our golem. Let's get this up to 5. Sell the rest of that. I feel like we should keep this stuff. I don't know what to do with this one crate of nostalgia crockery. There's no shipment that's going to ask for one. Let's get rid of it. This looks pretty good as a collection of storage. So let us go to the Spitalfields Market. Be able to resupply. Six is because the fuel's almost out. We'll get rid of the carefully packed munitions and the nostalgia crockery. Alright, so that's the Bazaar, Spitalfields. I don't want to go back to the Clockwork Sun this early, so we're not going to go there. I think we're all done here. Is there anything else we need? I mean, if anything, we need to go back to the Reach at some point. Let's talk to the Golem. Actually, did we want to talk to him? Let's get out of here. We'll get out of here, and then we'll talk to characters. Talk to him. Okay. Navigator's in his cabin. He's popular with the crew. Yeah. Persuade the Navigator to talk. Even off duty, the Navigator's constantly checking the crew. He is avoiding being alone. Let him know they've seen this before. He has to share his burden. A needed confidant. The Navigator joins you in his cabin. Finally, the words tumble out. I thought I was all right. Just got on with my work, and I was doing well. He reaches beneath his bunk to pull out the book the matriarch gave him. Atlan read this all the time. He'd act it out, do the voices. It is the epic of King Gazar. Gizar. Atlan knew the true me. He shared his clothes, helped me bind my chest for the first time, got me into my first fistfight. The Navigator sits up proudly. He was my best friend. When we were children, I made a promise to him. The Navigator stares blindly at the book. The Navigator made a promise to his friend when they were young. I've lost 2 savage secrets. No, that's the last savage secrets. The Navigator's okay. What did he promise? And why does it prey on him? Promise. When we were grown up, we would go exploring together. We'd go on great quests, do mighty things. The Navigator takes several breaths before continuing. We'd be heroes. We would write stories. They would write stories about us. I'm exploring the skies, and the Navigator turns his face away. He didn't even get to leave home. He wipes his eyes on the sleeves and stands resolute. I'm not going to break my promise. I will give him adventures worthy of King Gazar. Please, Captain, I want to go to Eagle's Empyrean. I'm breaking him out of his tomb. But I'll need your help. You'll need a visa to come with me. The London Embassy will give you one. He frowns. If you've not been to Eleutheria, it's a relay near Hybris. In the Reach. There's a relay near Hybris? The Navigator's promise. The Navigator would like you to help him steal his friend's body from a graveyard in Eagle's Empyrean. Okay, that's interesting. I have a feeling that means, why are we still here? I thought I left. Oh, I guess so. Crew. Yeah, I have a feeling that we're going to be sent to Blue Kingdom to revive this character. That's fine. So we will restore our Clay Conductor's voice. See what happens. A friend in need. The Clay Conductor fetches a spoon and several lumps of sugar. He mashes the lumps into the honey, and gargles the concoction. When he's done, you wrangle a little bit of past out of him. The Clay Conductor was in the Clay Choirs. His dead companion was a very talented Clay chorister. I have hopes of finding someone with as good a voice again. One cannot be a chorus alone. I've heard tell of a clay man in the most serene mausoleum. I have 2 reasons together. The Clay Conductor trails off, clearly desiring your assistance, but unsure how to formulate the question. He stares at his feet instead. Learning about the Clay Conductor. The Clay Conductor wishes you to visit the Mausoleum And we've used up our gourd, courser nectar. Is there anything else we want to talk to this guy about? Oh, now he talks. Yes. He doesn't look up from a large volume of sheet music. Slow hymns like the drift of continents, made from the melody of plate-shifting earthquakes. Okay, the rest of it looks like it was before. I think that that's an introduction to all of our characters except for the princess. Now we have 2 reasons to go back to the Most Serene Mausoleum. Since we're going to be going up here anyway, maybe we can catch it on the way back. But I think that this time we're pretty much just out to explore. Oh, actually. Let's go turn on our reports and sell our tea over here. The ministries. Hit it, don't hit it. Alright, Public Works. Alright, turn that in. 85, it's looking a lot better. The foreman cracks the lid and inhales a noseful of scent. It would be too much to suggest that this fabled midnight tea that grows beneath the black sun. Wait, it would be too much to suggest that this is the fabled midnight tea that grows beneath the black sun. Or perhaps you intimate it contains a leaf or two of that priceless plant. The foreman is intrigued and pays you promptly. Green sovereigns, blah blah blah. I like that this is getting bright. Now they want... Oh no, we have to find more bombazine. It's tough to find. Oh yes. Work order 7777-G. We've already had 7777. Oh, actually, yeah, this is a repeat. Alright. Okay. We'll deliver these. Maybe we can get our thing up to 87. 87, sweet. Money is pouring in. Let's get out of here. I like that the Clockwork Sun is doing all right. I really want to level up again, try and get some of my stats over 50. The thing is, I don't know how stats work in this game. So a lot of times they're, even though it's like a 100-point scale, the actual practical scales are at like certain particular intervals, like 5s or 10s, you know? So like one example would be like Fallout New Vegas. Pretty much all of like the checks, like even though it was a 100-point scale, pretty much all of the checks were at 10-point intervals. So, you know, having a skill of 40 was like functionally equivalent to having the skill of 49, because, you know, the cap is at 50, right? It would always be at 50. There's another game where I heard about that recently. I think it was like Pokemon. They have like some kind of stats that like every 3 matters or something. It's kind of weird. I don't play Pokemon. Whoa, what is that? Oh, I thought that there was something moving back there, but it's just ash on the foreground. It's like there's a giant thing moving back there with lights on it. Come on, find perdition or something. Or snickety. It's said that the slender denizens that once ruled here never fully departed, never wholly departed. Slender denizens? Like the Slender Men? I might send out another owl. In my, it seems very much like in this level, there's always a horror near a port. There's a horror right there. Shall we go and see what it is? Whoa, hello. Oh, jeez. Good battle. We'll take the experience, of course. The days have worn thin this corner of the sky. Your driver watches warily for whiffs of unraveling time. Yes. It's a pretty big search field. Hardy's Wraith, or Wrath. Yeah, should we go with the lips first? I think the other lip is probably too far away. Oh. It's just like the space eels or whatever. We'll do another owl real quick. Good. Now we'll head to the new port that we found. Yay! The crew stand on the windows cooing at Perdurance's luxury, while the incautious driver is unimpressed. Did a new lips appear? That's kind of weird. Evening ballroom. We'll do it once around. Should probably do it once around the outside afterward too. The Parlour. Wow, this place is kind of big. Wow, this place is really big. Oh, can we just go in through these? Huh. Okay. Alright. Well, let's go in. Perdurance. Finally. Finally. A new port. The crew are ecstatic. Orgasmic. Alright. Arriving at Perdurance. On approach, Perdurance looks like an opulent mansion caught partway through a genteel explosion. Each constituent set of rooms accounted for, but separate, and out of place, okay? Each is connected in a rough circle by a narrow, winding passage. The steep roofs are topped with shingles, turrets, and precarious towers. The elegantly disassembled country house perches on top of a soot-stained, windowless factory whose chimneys belch gouts of smoke and fire. Enter the Parlour. The docks face a set of polished oak doors carved with a series of masked figures dancing the quadrille? I don't know what that is. The windows in the Parlour are shuttered. The light stained with pale yellows, blushing pinks, and bruised violets. Lit with the illusion of dawn, or perhaps dusk. You see a room cluttered with stiff-backed armchairs and decorative chases. Set against a savagely floral wallpaper in shades of burgundy, violet, and Brunswick green, a portrait of the Empress, unsmiling, hangs in an ornate gilt frame. A few visitors mill about, casting speculative glances on the exasperated butler, as they pretend to examine the decor. Now I could write a port report, which I will do. Perdurance is a jewel in the Empire's crown, where its favorite sons and daughters are pampered, protected, and preserved. Important matters. The visitors are puffed up with importance and embarrassingly eager to tell you about how they obtained their invitation to the Half-Light Masque. Some through patronage, or some through long service, others through less salubrious means. They are desperate to spend a day in the company of the glittering inhabitants of Perdurance, the brightest stars in Albion's firmament. From here, the sons and daughters of Her Majesty's most important courtiers reside in eternal youth and sophistication. You hand your port report. Okay, yeah, we know what that is. So now we can. Oh, that's not great. Okay, so we could talk to the exasperated butler. He praises you with an officious disapproval that testifies to years of devoted training. We could hand our invitation to the exasperated butler and join the Half-Light Masque. Or we could stand for Parliament in Perdurance. Debutantes wouldn't sully their perfect day by voting, of course. But perhaps some of Perdurance's servants and chaperones might be moved by the democratic spirit. Costs 50 sovereigns to stand, and is refunded if you win. And, yes, he demands, and leafs through a leather-covered logbook to make it clear that he is in fact terribly busy. You could inquire about the nature of Perdurance. What is this place? You could ask about gaining an invitation to the Half-Light Masque. How does one get in exactly? Ask about the debutantes. Who is permitted to reside here? Bid him goodbye. Goodbye, he says, in tones of one who has been relieved of a terrible burden. Alright, what is this place? Introductions. He sighs. Perdurance is the home of the Half-Light Masque. Here, Her Majesty has created a single perfect day wherein the finest examples of the Empire's youth may reside for all time. At the day's end, there's a grand ball. When it is over, the day is spun anew with fresh hours, and it all begins again. No one who resides here will ever age, even a single day. Visitors are permitted, of course, relatives and a select few others, as long as they have an invitation, he says pointedly. Alright, let's ask about getting an invitation. Select few. If one must ask how to obtain an invitation, one probably shouldn't have it. Typically, they are granted to the relatives of residents. However, the Ministry of Public Decency may award invitations to those who have served the Empire. We also receive an unusual number of visitors from the Royal Society. An invitation, him with all those invitations on that spit that he has, the whatever it's called. Alright. An invitation permits the bearer entry to a single instance of the Masque from morning to evening. You thank him, but he clearly wishes to impress upon you the grandeur of the matter. It is a great honor to be invited here, and an even greater one to be rewarded with residence. The Empress is most generous with her favored servants. He gives you a sharp look and adds, and we're all her servants, are we not? I most certainly am. You can ask about the debutantes who's permitted to reside here. Why, they are the sons and daughters of Her Majesty's most valued and most trusted counselors and confidants. The residents want for nothing. They fear for nothing. They will not grow old. They will not care or worry. They will be preserved forever in the flower of their youth and innocence. These are the gifts that Her renewed Majesty can grant. Can the debutantes leave? He's been suspiciously silent on that score. Who chooses the debutantes, and according to what criteria? Why on earth would they want to do that? To do so would seem remarkably ungrateful. Alright, let's go and ask the other question. Who chooses the debutantes, and according to what criteria? Her renewed Majesty, of course. She chooses them herself, from among the children of her most beloved advisors and agents. This is the reward for service, immortality, and luxury for one's issue. Could there be anything better? I guess that's it. Bid him goodbye. Should we try this? What happens if we fail? Boo. Minor setback. The polls are not in your favor. Your opponents appear to have the will of the people behind them. Fortunately, It is a long way from here to Parliament. You suspect that it will not be long before the winner tires of their position and steps down. A new election will be called after a while. You may try again. Okay. Let's get into the Masque. Through the Empress, straight on till morning. The portrait of the Empress swings open, and a succession of brightly dressed debutantes, sour-faced chaperones, and prim servants stumbles into the parlor. They barely have a moment to rest their feet and take a sip of tea before a panel of wallpaper slides open. The dark maw of a sharply curving passage just visible in the dawn light. The exasperated butler snatches the invitation from your hands. Remember, your invitation only lasts one day. It is a warning, but sounds a little wistful. It is a warning, but it sounds a little wistful. He propels you forward to join the court in its procession. You emerge a little tender into the morning. It is morning in Perdurance. The morning room is a grander version of the parlor, presided over by the Ariat, the Ariat Duchess in her pink and purple silks. The dowagers of varying stateliness and aplomb. Jeez, just throwing out the Scrabble words here. Dowagers of varying stateliness and aplomb take tea and converse in low tones. Other debutantes reply to correspondence, writing notes in elegant script and affixing them with sealing wax. Meanwhile, chaperones give orders to the servants and see to Perdurance's household accounts. The light is a flushed yellow, autumnally ripe. Wonderful. Okay. So we want to... so we can find the presumptuous heiress. She must be here somewhere. But can you find her? And charm the servants, rushing here and there. They are a blur of efficiency and sobriety amidst Perdurance's opulence. Try to gain favor with the servants. What are my chances? Better than 50-50. You can charm the chaperones. They cluster around the debutantes, watching over them in habitually pinched expressions. Try to win favor with both the servants and the debutantes. Okay. Try not win with the chaperones? Interesting. Charm the debutantes, a gleaming group of young men and women and others, each more elegantly dressed than the one before. Try to gain favor with the debutantes. Ooh, nice. Okay. Well, we'll go for the heiress first. The macabre counselor commissioned you to find and free her daughter, the presumptuous heiress. First, you'll need to find her among the debutantes. Okay. So you can search the dining hall. The macabre counselor provided you with a fulsome description, several charcoal sketches, and a lock of hair. Unfortunately, almost everyone here is young, comely, and slavishly contemporary with the current fashions. So we could roll the dice. It's a pretty good chance. We could ask around. Perhaps with sufficiently enticing gossip, you could coax her identity from another debutante. We have a lot of these. It's more of a guaranteed thing. Let's do it. An entanglement. A laconic popinjay, okay? A laconic popinjay listens avidly to your scandalous story, then inclines his fan towards a young lady leaning on the grand piano. That's her. Her mass of black... Wait. It's not quite. Her mass of dark curls is set off in a spray of curving blue-black feathers, so high they scrape the low ceiling. She's talking to the pianist, a lady of comparable build, with similar brown curls, an identical chin, and matching eyes. They could be sisters. Oh. Apparently the macabre counselor has two daughters. She said nothing about this. No doubt it'll prove to be a complication. There are too many people nearby to speak with either sister discreetly, but in the evening there will be a ball. Perhaps you'll have a chance then. I lost salon stewed gossip. Oh no. Morning ends. Time to move on. Move onwards. One of the Dowager Duchesses rings a bell. Conversation halts with practice suddenness. Morning is over. Through the darkness. Everyone arrays themselves into a procession according to their station. The Dowager Duchess in front, the debutantes just behind, the chaperones and visitors, and the servants bring up the rear. There is much jostling for position within each group, according to the rules that you cannot begin to fathom. You enter the narrow and twisting passage, stumbling in the enveloping darkness as the debutantes giggle and shout. With each step, the shrieks of hours begin spinning backwards and resonates through your body, leaving you shaking and worn. You emerge, blinking, to the dazzle of afternoon. It is afternoon in Perdurance. Here, the curtains are pulled back with tasseled ropes, allowing the clockwork sun to spill its stark gold into the dining room. The long table is set with rows of gleaming china dinner plates patterned with delicate florals. Silver cutlery polished to a high shine gleams atop a pristine tablecloth. Servants pour endless glasses of watered wine, or carry in the next in a stream of elaborate dishes. Okay. We could charm a chaperone. We could charm a servant or charm a debutante. We could charm a chaperone, and a chaperone pushes his food around his plate while a loud debutante tells an interminable joke. You suspect the chaperone has heard it a great many times. Ingratiating yourself to the chaperones may win favor with both servants and debutantes. Okay. You can charm a servant. You drain your wine glass and raise it an inch, trying to catch a servant's eye. Perhaps, given an opportunity, you can win their approval. Try to gain favor with the servants. We can charm the debutantes. A florid youth chatters brightly at your right. Their laugh a little too sharp. Try to win favor with the debutantes. I think, since it sounds like winning favor with the chaperones will increase our chances with the servants and debutantes, we'll do that. A useful friend. The chaperone soon considers you a fast friend. He deftly inserts you into a lively conversation between several debutantes. He also gives a subtle signal to the servants, and thereafter you are always served the finest cuts of meat. It is more or less like pork. Not many pigs were brought into the sky, of course, but let's call it pork. The afternoon ends. It's time to move on. You now have one debutante's favor and one servant's favor. All right. Move onwards. The Dowager Duchess gives a small nod, and the entire company rises as one. Twisting, turning, a passage opens behind the china cabinet, and the procession forms once more. You take a breath and step into the close, stifling darkness, trying not to fall behind as the passage contorts and coils. With each step, the shrieks of hours being spun backwards resonates through your body, leaving you shaking and worn. You spot a figure masked in a featureless black, their face covered by a smooth oval of polished obsidian. Who are they? It is an enormous relief to spill out into the evening at the grand ballroom. Everyone finds their place without a murmur, and courtly life is resumed, almost as though the terrors you just experienced never existed. It's a lot of reading. Hanging from the grand ballroom ceiling is a vast... Holy crap. A vast Ormolu Gasolier. Ormolu Gasolier. Spidery arms decked with crystal-cut drops. It casts soft yellow brightness onto the masked dancers below as they whirl across the polished parquet floor. Music blends with the hum of genteel conversation and the stiff swish of starch crinolines. The half-light mask is in full swing. There's barely room to stand, much less to move. We could dance with the presumptuous heiress. She favors the polka, alas. Now, were those 61 before? I'm not actually sure. Mission first. The presumptuous heiress is everything you expected in a dance partner. Demanding, joyful, and a touch too exuberant for propriety. Her attention is only partially on you, and only very peripherally on the steps of the dance. Instead, she waves at friends across the ballroom and whispers snatches of conversation as they pass close by. Between mincing steps interspersed with quick turns in double time, you manage to ask your questions. Ask her to leave with you, or the song ends. You part ways, much on your mind. I actually kind of get the impression that this is the wrong move. The fact that it says that you managed to ask your questions, and there only being one question, implies that there are other questions that are not available right now. I'm wondering if we need to get everybody on our side first. It seems reasonable. We do have more invitations, so it's fine. Alright, let's try to increase our favor even more with the chaperones. Yeah, I never read these either. Charm the servants. They are soberly clad, half-masked in bone white pewter, and standing to attention at the edges of the ballroom. We could try to win favor with the servants, or we could assist the chaperones. The chaperones wear drab versions of debutantes' masks. Animals patterned in the shades of brown and gray. They prowl the ball, ensuring no one is getting too friendly. Try to win favor with both the servants and the debutantes. Or we could charm the debutantes. They wear fantastical animal masks of bright silks, dyed fur, and feathers affixed with jeweled pins. Try to win the favor of the debutantes. I think the chaperones is the safe route. False darkness. You help one break up an assignation between two of their wayward charges. The chaperone's eyes blaze with such indignance you imagine the paste gems at their ears and throat gleam with reflected fury. As you drag the recalcitrant debutantes from behind the heavy fustian curtains, Fustian, I think it's Fustian, you notice that the glass of the arched windows behind them is covered in a layer of soot, blocking out any possibility of sunlight. The evening ends. It's time to move on. Okay. So you can listen to the anxious chaperone. One of the chaperones approaches you as the evening ends. She has one blue eye and one green. Heterochromia. Interesting. I need your help, she says, or we can move onwards. The music stops. Somewhere below, a mechanical rumble can be heard as the hour looms begin spinning Perdurance's one perfect perpetual day all over again. Let's listen to the anxious chaperone. The eye. Your trusted by both servants and debutantes. That is rare indeed. It inclines me to hope that you may be admirable. Thus, I ask for a favor. You're a traveler. I trust something to your care. Without a pause, she pushes her fingers into her own eye socket and pulls the eye out with a wet pop. Gross. She holds it out to you expectantly. Are you expected to take this? Wait, on closer inspection, the eye is glass, although the iris is inlaid with an emerald and jet, flecked with gold. My family committed themselves to the Brabazon work world to pay off their debts. This will buy years off their service. I beg you, take it to them. You wrap the chaperone's eye in your cuff. Perhaps, if you're traveling that way. The chaperone's bequest. You have agreed to deliver a jeweled eyeball to Brabazon. Right, and then we can move onwards. Music stops. Yeah, we've already read that. One of the blacked out ballroom windows opens to reveal the passage back to the parlor at dusk. Or perhaps dawn. The keening of the hours as they are spun backwards makes your legs weak and your heart pound. You feel unaccountably wearied. You spot a figure masked in a featureless black, their face covered by a smooth opal of polished obsidian. Who are they? You enter the parlor. Okay. I think it is slightly different. You enter the parlor through the portrait of the Empress and limp away, sore-footed from dancing and stumbling through the dark. Behind you, the members of the court of Perdurance chatter and take tea, and make ready to begin their day anew. For tonight, and every night thereafter, is the half-light Masque. Your time at Perdurance is at an end. The procession emerges from the dark passageway into the dusky, or perhaps dawny, light of the parlor. Somewhere below, Perdurance's hour looms labors to reweave its perfect day. Soon, the sleepless debutante will begin its morning anew. But first, someone approaches. Spending the day at Perdurance reduces your terror, and, depending on who you pleased and how much, might grant other rewards. A chaperone taps you on the shoulder. You were equally popular with both the debutantes and the servants. A feat the chaperones admire. Or we could do one of the debutantes would like a word. It appears as though you've made an impression with the gleaming residents of Perdurance, where a servant tugs at your sleeve. You've endeared yourself to those who work below stairs. No. We'll do the chaperone. Oh, sweet. We're without terror. That's great. Oil on troubled waters. Let it never be said that you allowed class to dictate the breadth of your friendships. The chaperones murmur quiet congratulations, remarking how your presence smoothed what is often a difficult day. They do hope you'll return. You leave richer in gossip and soothed by distractions of the half-light Masque. Wow, we got tons of saloon stew gossip. That was great. We got money out of it. Our experience, rather. Alright, let's try it again. I won't read it this time. But this time we will try to gain favor with the debutantes? Hunger and age. The debutantes are eager for novelty after repeating the same day over and over and over and over and over and over again. As a visitor, you are highly prized. You answer their small queries about the outside world as best as you can. In their turn, they laugh at your jests and marvel at everything from your shoes to your stories of travel. There's a hunger in them, despite their ample cheeks and glutted finery. Youth sits lightly on their skin. Age presses its claws out from underneath. The morning ends, it's time to move on. Okay. Chaperone debutante. Let's try to go even further with the debutantes. Alliance. You exchange wicked, whispered observations on the nearby chaperones and... Wait, you exchanged wicked, whispered observations on the nearby chaperones and servants. Your companion has a razored tongue and appreciates your keen observations of others' flaws. Cute. Okay. Yeah. I just noticed something. Did you see that flicker? That was bad. That's a sign of a major programming problem, where they're not listening to mouse up and down events. They're listening to it being held down. It's not a good sign. Well, this seems like the only option. I kind of figured that if we ingratiate ourselves with the debutantes, that we would maybe have more options in here. Let's try it. Lack-witted in the extreme. For all her frivolity, the presumptuous heiress can summon a thunderous frown when the moment demands it. Leave without my poor, luckless sister? I've never heard such base cowardice. She continues for some time, casting imprecations on her mother, her plan, and your own involvement. The idea is lack-witted in the extreme, even for Mama. I would rather rot here. She plucks a crudité from whatever from a passing silver platter and looks for a servant to refill her champagne. As expected, a complication. The macabre counselor told you she has an agent in position at Perdurance to assist you. You better find them and seek advice. The heiress won't leave without her sister. Find the counselor's agent at Perdurance and seek advice. Okay, we can charm the debutantes and assist the chaperones, charm the servants, and dance with the luckless sister. A country dance. You'll have to watch your feet. Go ahead and do that. The luckless sister is light on her feet, with a graceful tread. Her curls escape pins as she twirls, gleaming a dark bronze in the gaslight. She looks very much like her sister as she dances, the occasional anxious line on her face smoothing over with the abandon of youth. Still, there is a watchfulness in her even as you clasp her hands and smile. You must seize your moment for speech. Somehow you contrive. Let's talk. I want more information. Let's ask her about her family. So, we can ask her about her family, investigate her opinions of the presumptuous heiress and the macabre counselor, and explain her mother's commission. Would she perhaps be willing to convince her sister to leave Perdurance with you tonight? Or the song ends. You part ways with the luckless sister. She returns to her position at the edge of the ballroom. Let's go for information first. An unsettled heart. The luckless sister is thoughtful where her sister is pleasingly frivolous, and considered when her sister is untroubled. You gently steer the conversation in the direction of her sister, probing for resentments or jealousy. You find none. It is only when you mention the matter of the mother, the luckless sister's quaint charm falters. The one true pleasure of this awful place is that I will likely never see her again. Awful place? You look around at laughing dancers, in their shimmering finery, at the crystal decanters, wine, or dark with wine, the windows' evening blaze caught and refracted in the shining chandeliers. Let's see if this changes. No. Alright. Intrigue and suspicion. The luckless sister's laugh startles a nearby chaperone. He gives you a stern look, no doubt suspecting you of nefarious levities. Once her amusement subsides, she refuses. If I truly thought that would be the best for my sister, I would help you. My mother would only entangle her in schemes and plots. My sister is ill, suited to a life of intrigue and suspicion, or ill-suited to a sister of to a life of intrigue and suspicion. She's not surprised that her mother would abandon her here, but nor does she seem inclined to aid you. You'll need some sort of leverage. Let's try the heiress again. Nothing. Heiress, sister, servants, chaperones, debutantes. Really get in with the debutantes. Fashionable arson. You dance with a debutante, taking their glove hand in your own. You compliment their gloves as you move around the dance floor, and are immediately pleased. Lemon yellow is the current fashion. Of course, I took scissors to every other pair I could find in the laundry, so mine are the only ones currently au fait. Conceal any shock at confession, and complete your... Oh, jeez. Varsavine? In good order. Jeez. Okay, whatever. Your hand receives a silken squeeze as you part. Onwards. A debutante. Okay, so now we have a. Spending the day at Perdurance reduces your terror, and depending on who you please and how much they will grant you rewards. A debutante lifts his glass to you. Hip hip hooray! Debutantes toast with glasses of sherry pilfered from the Masque. The chaperones are scandalized. You are hit with the debutantes. The debutantes shower you with effusive compliments and beg you to return. Consensus is that while Perdurance's eternal day is of course perfect, you still manage to improve upon it. Your hand is shaken, your cheek kissed. You receive a number of smoky glances from behind gleaming masks. You leave the Masque rich in gossip, lulled by its luxury, and with a bright memory to comfort you in the dark. I don't know what to do here. Well, we should probably wrap up this episode here. It's way too long. But let's just read these two last things here. Perdurance Bazaar. Locomotive captains gather at the bazaar to trade goods and information. You may find bargains here or fulfill prospects you have claimed. The recent death of a well-to-do widower has triggered... I think I've read that before. And then we have the butler's discretion. The exasperated butler sells copies of the gushing accounts of life at Perdurance, written by occupants and guests, which are so popular in London. Alright, well, I think that's going to wrap up this episode. We really... and we found Perdurance, that's the big thing. But I really don't feel like we made a lot of progress here. We're definitely stuck when it comes to these... I don't know if they're twins or just sisters, but... Anyway. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you have, please like, maybe comment, maybe subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye-bye.